Hello. I know everybody is super busy getting ready for the holidays. Is everybody ready? I mean, nobody I know is ready. And if you are, I can't really call you a friend because it just stresses me out because I'm not even close to being ready. But I'm getting there. I know that everybody's busy, but I couldn't resist this opportunity to introduce you guys today to somebody with an incredibly inspiring story. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's just because it's the holidays or because there's still a lot of yuck going on in the world, but I find myself now more than ever just craving stories about people who are out there actually doing good in the world. And so today, that's what I want to do, is to introduce you to somebody who's doing just that. But before I patch him in, let me introduce myself really quickly. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jen Petro. I'm the owner of a small marketing communications company in Indianapolis called Dropleaf Communications. You can learn about that at dropleafco.com. And I also get to coach female entrepreneurs around starting the businesses of their dreams. And that is something that I love doing, and you can learn about that at jenpetro.com. And as part of that work, as part of Build Your Dream Business, one of the coolest things that I get to do is meet entrepreneurs from all around the place and just talk to them, find out their stories, find out, what's driving them to want to start a business or why they have started their businesses. And the stories are very different. I mean, you meet people who have a passion that they just want to monetize, or they're out to affect change, or for some people, starting a business comes down to just financial needs, right? The need to be self-sufficient. And so there are just lots of different reasons. But you also come across people who start a business from a place of pain. And they have incredible stories. A few months ago, I got the opportunity to talk with Samantha Smith, and that's her backstory. You can learn about her at samanthasmithspeaks.com. And so you meet these people who take a really tragic, often tragic circumstances, or just really hard life circumstances, and they use it for good, and they start a business out of that. And so to me, that's just powerfully inspiring. And so today, I'm really excited to bring one of those people to you. His name is Pete Visintin. So I'm going to go ahead and patch him in. He's the founder of Fight the Fight, Inc. See if we can get him on here, if technology is going to cooperate. You never know, right? It can be crazy. And you can learn about, while we're adding him in here, you can learn about Fight the Fight at his website, which is helpfightthefightclothing.com. Hi, Pete.
Hello.
It worked.
How are you? Yep, we're in.
We're going to cross our fingers that this is going to actually hold. So I'm going to let Pete tell you his story. I think it'd be more powerful to hear it from him directly, but maybe before you talk specifically about your business, Pete, if you can just give us a little backstory about you and kind of what leading up to starting your business, your life was all about.
Yep. So I grew up in a small town in central Illinois, right between St. Louis and Springfield. And I was an athlete growing up, come from a hardworking middle-class family. And I went through high school and college. I tell this story all the time to students and everybody who can hear. But I went through high school and college, and all I did was play basketball, go to class, and get good grades. That's it. I never did anything extracurricular outside the classroom to give myself an edge when school was over. So I thought the whole time that I was going to high school and I was going to college, and I graduated with my MBA, I thought that was my golden ticket. So as soon as I got that degree and walked across the stage, that these big employers were going to come calling me, they were going to whisk me away to the big city, and I was going to have a nice starting salary with benefits and on my way up the corporate ladder. Well, that's the exact opposite of what happened. So I graduated with the same degree, the same grades as almost everybody else across the country who got a business degree, and I had zero relevant business experience, and I had zero professional network when I got out of college, because the only place I was at the gym or at class. That's it. And so for 4 years when I got out of school, from 2008 to 2012, that was kind of the toughest time in my life that I can remember. And that's because I had no direction, no idea what I wanted to do, and I had no contacts and no experience. So I bounced around, and it's kind of funny. I always tell my students that at one point I was the hot dog guy at the St. Louis Blues games, and that was with a master's degree. So if you go to school and go through the crucible of getting your master's degree and you're the hot dog guy at the Blues games, that's not the job that you're looking for. So in 2012, That went on for 4 years. And in 2012, something really bad happened. My dad got diagnosed with cancer just out of the blue, out of nowhere. And that was my trigger to stick my foot in the ground and say, screw it, I'm going to start my own business. If nobody will hire me because I don't have experience, then I'm going to make my own experience, and I'm going to do the things I need to do to get to know the right people.
Love that.
So through that whole process of starting that business and building it from scratch, I got to know the right people and I got the right experience. And then that also led me to getting recruited to teach a program, which your good friend Cheryl Mitchell was highly involved in, called CEO. And I'm the facilitator for the Macoupin County CEO program in addition to my business. So now I coach kids through the process of starting their own business as well.
That's awesome. And I saw Cheryl on here. She's watching. Hey, Cheryl. I can relate to that story. And I think so many of us can, in terms of graduating from school. You know, you've got your degree and you're like, okay, come get me. And then they don't. I mean, that's my story too. So I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody just wants to cruise, but that's the worst thing you can do. You'll be kicking yourself later. I was, but it was the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me, because I think if that would have happened, if somebody would have came and plucked me out of there and I would have got whisked away, I never would have got to know the people I've gotten to know, started my own business, and done the things that I've done without that. So
yeah, absolutely. So tell us about Fight the Fight.
Okay, so Fight the Fight is a clothing line that I started in 2012. Whenever that happened to my dad, he got a brain tumor just out of the blue. So when I was in the hospital with him, I looked around at the other patients in the ICU and I tried to just think about their needs. So number one, they're laying there in the hospital bed, so they're out of work themselves. A lot of them did not have friends and family come visiting them all the time like we had, because their friends and family didn't financially have the means to get away and go see them. So I decided their need was, if I could be the person who shows up with a check when they need it the most, then that's probably their greatest need. And to do that, I just kind of took a self-inventory. What am I good at? What do I think I can actually do? Who do I know that can help me? And what I landed on was a clothing line. I also wanted I knew I wanted to start something that was sustainable and not dependent on donations. So I wanted to bring a product or service to market that I knew people would actually want without knowing the cause. So I've always thought Nike or Under Armour, not charity. And that's the way we've done it. And in 5 years, I've sold tens of thousands of shirts through our online store, and we've donated over $85,000 to people in need and growing.
It's just incredible. It's incredible. And here's the crazy story. I literally think that my shirt that I ordered 2 days ago was just delivered. I was hoping I'd be able to wear it, but I just saw the mail, so I may run down there and get it. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
Speed kills.
I know, right? If you go to fightthefightclothing.com, you can look at all the different options, and it's just so fun. They have really inspiring sayings, and they're awesome. They're really awesome. I love what you said about, you set out to create something that people would actually want to wear and to buy and to give away, and I think that's awesome. That's awesome.
And the reason I did that is sustainability.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when something bad happens to people like this, they want to start a charity, and that's great, and I'm 100% for that. But I also know that if you do something where you depend on donations, after a while you experience donor fatigue. So I knew that I wanted to create something that could just have cash flow over and over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. And so a lot of the people that I talk with who are starting a business or are thinking about starting a business, they don't have a ton of resources, and they don't necessarily have a huge network yet. And so if you could give any advice to someone just starting out, what would you say is some of the most important things to do or think about?
Go lean. Don't worry about the money. So I remember when I started Fight the Fight, I got down to $7 in my bank account, my personal bank. I have no loans, no debt, nothing. So I used the last of my money to buy my first batch of shirts ever. And then Liz, my wife, and I, we went and sold them at an event. And then it took us like a year to get the online store off and running, but we finally got that. So my biggest advice to anybody who has a cause they want to get attention for, an organization, or has ever dreamt about starting a business is to use social media efficiently. So I think I see small business owners all the time, and I'm talking this from the small mom and pops up to the big hundreds of employees size. They do a lot of work, but they don't get a lot of results from social media. And with me, I kind of, from the beginning, I've always looked at it as the only reason I've been able to sell so many shirts as we have is because I've been able to develop a following of people who care about what we do. And the only reason I've been able to develop that following is from the very beginning, I looked at strategy and not at tactics. Mm-hmm. So my strategy is always, I looked at my strength. My strength is writing. So I can write well for the audience that I have. I'm not particularly good on video. I'm not particularly good at taking pictures or doing audio like podcasts, things like that.
I don't know, you're rocking it right now.
Yeah, maybe more in the future. But so I always knew to stick to my strengths, write for my audience. And then I have a couple philosophies kind of that I use whenever I do my posts. And I think I write down 3 things before I start mapping out a post. And number 1 is, I call it write raw. And number 2 is write like an open nerve. So I heard in one of the Avengers movies, I heard the Hulk say one time when he wasn't changed, so it was just Mark Ruffalo. He said that when he's the Hulk, he feels like it's an open nerve and he feels everything and he can't control it. So I try to write like that. I try to write what I feel because I know that's what's gonna resonate with my audience. Now, and then the third thing I write down is IV. So I try to make my content be like an IV coming out of me. So what I'm actually feeling in my bones, because I know the stuff, that's what would get my attention. So to get my audience's attention, that's what it needs to be. It needs to be at Absolutely. That level. Now, it's also very scary, especially in the beginning, to put yourself out there like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. And it comes across in your social media. You're such a storyteller, and it's very clear that you're being authentic and genuine, and you're speaking from your heart, and it really comes across. And I mean, for any wannabe entrepreneurs out there or small business owners, I mean, this is killer advice right here. I hope you're writing this down, because I teach in my course, it's all about what I call human to human marketing. People want to buy from other people. People want to engage with other people. And so if you can communicate at an emotional level, at the heart level, with your prospective customers or clients, whatever it might be, that's huge. That's huge. And when it comes to, like you said, developing a following, so having a loyal base of people who care about your organization or care about what it is you have to offer the world, I mean, that's invaluable for a small business owner.
To get attention in the digital world, it's so crowded. There's billions of people on Facebook. There's hundreds of millions of business Facebook pages. And to get people's attention, you have to tug on their heartstrings with your content. You have to emotionally affect them. And the thing that I always look at deep down is, I'm not trying to get to somebody's emotions and get their attention just for the sake of the attention. I'm writing things that I believe can help them and bring value to them. So that's, I try not to make it all about me.
Absolutely. And I think your intentions come across very clearly in what you're doing. Tell us, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm just curious, how do you guys go about, like, one thing I loved about your website is that you can actually see when you go on to purchase something, you can see who you're going to be benefiting. The specific recipient of, they get over 50% of your purchase, which is amazing. So tell us how is the process of that, selecting the families? How does that work?
Well, selecting them is really easy. They write in to me, and all we just have to have, their name and their permission and a short narrative about who they are and what they're going through, and then a couple pictures to go along with it. And we post it to our website, and that's called a survivor story. So we donate to either one person a month or 2 people a month, and more than 50% of the proceeds for everything we sell during that time goes to them. So I was very careful in this when I set it up, because I never wanted it to be like these bigger charities where when you donate, the money's just going into a swimming pool and you have no idea where it's going. So this is so direct. When you buy something, you know exactly the person you're helping and who they're going through. And that money is not, it's just coming through Fight the Fight and to them. Yeah. And then also, something else that I another reason why I deliberately chose clothing was on the business side, branding. So every time somebody buys a shirt, your logo's out there, you spread awareness, and also people are more likely to give if you give them something in return, like a physical product.
Yeah, that tangible thing. It's amazing how important that still is to people. And I think you're right. People want to know where is their money going, and just having that's part of your transparency, I think. That's really beautiful, of just knowing exactly. And I love that you can read the story. I think my shirt, when I bought, it was Rhonda Messerly was her name, and I got to read her story and what she's going through. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Show us your sweatshirt. I think you're wearing a Fight the Fight shirt, right? Nice.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's awesome.
This is the number one product of all time. The dark smoke hood. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's awesome stuff. I haven't asked you this even off camera about how did this impact your dad? What did this mean to him when you started this out of his circumstance?
Well, with my dad, we were fortunate. Things have worked out. So his brain tumor was 5 years ago, and he's still going. And he's got a little bit of impairment on the left side of his body. So, I mean, I know it means a lot to him. I don't talk to him a lot about it, just because, it's kind of sensitive. So,
sure. I just can't imagine how meaningful that must have been for him to see you take this and run with it. That's just awesome. I'm sure he's a proud father.
I know that deep down he knows, and I know that the whole thing was a blessing and a curse. The curse is obviously what happened to him. The blessing is what came out of it, for sure.
Yeah. So often, sorry, my phone's being funky. So often I think that's true of any hard life circumstance, that you look back and you can see the good that comes out of it. But I think it's easy also to take hard life circumstances and not do anything with it. So I love that you ran with that idea. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's really easy. Ideas are a dime a dozen, right? I mean, lots of us have business ideas, or just, ideas of any kind, but there are those select few people who actually take it and say, I'm going to do this. And then they really do it. So I think, was that hard for you to do that? Or was it just like, I'm doing this, and you went?
I knew that I wanted to do something before my dad, everything happened. And this was just kind of like the trigger. And I said, I think it was the day after it happened in the car on the way home, I told Liz, like, we're doing this. This is it. And then when we came up with a name, we tossed around a lot of different things, but we wanted a name that spoke to the meaning of the cause. So when you see Fight the Fight, you just know the connotation of it without understanding what the cause is too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I want to make sure before we sign off that everybody knows how to find you. And honestly, you need to go look at his stuff, because he sells great stuff, and it would make an amazing gift. I mean, I think about, I think with holidays and gifts on the brain and everything, I think all of us, or many of us, are so sick of gifts that don't mean anything. They just don't have any meaning behind them. Most of us have what we need. And so, yet another like crazy gift that we don't need that gets shoved in the closet. But what's cool about these in particular, I think, is that they would not only make a great gift for someone who just cares about having a meaningful gift, but I also think they would make an incredible gift for somebody going through a hard time, because they have awesome, just really inspirational, even just the name Fight the Fight. Like, I love the heart behind it. So if you know somebody who's just going through a struggle, whether it's medical related or not, I think it would make a beautiful gift. I know for me, when I see my friends and family going through hard things, it's really hard sometimes to think of things that would be, make a good gift for them or be meaningful. So you need to go check his stuff out for that, because I think it'd be awesome that you would get on there and buy a gift. But also, just for any small business owners out there, or people who are thinking about starting a business, just following Pete on social media would be a very smart move, because he's doing an excellent job. Through my drop leaf work, I work with small businesses all the time who are doing social media, and many of them are just struggling to figure out how to do it well. But Pete is doing it extremely well. So if for no other reason, you should follow him just to see what he's doing on social media. So Pete, will you tell us, what are the best places to find you on social media?
The place to find me is facebook.com/helpfightthefight. That's it. Go. I'm on all social media, but that's the heartbeat, and that's everything that I talk about, and all my energy goes into that page. And another thing, kind of before we sign off, my next step is what I want that to be is I've kind of got this bug lately to help small business owners. So I know a lot of small business owners, their main channel of communication with their customers is their Facebook page. So I'm going to start a organization or a system to help them reach more people organically. So for no money or very little money in paid content, how to reach more people. So
right, and that's getting harder and harder to do on social media with the way it's going. It's sort of like, you know, the channels are sort of moving in the direction of if you're not paying for advertising, it's very hard to get attention. And so I think that would be an invaluable service to offer. So I will make sure I put the link to Pete's Facebook page under this video. If you guys know anybody who you think would be interested in, you know, learning more about what he does or purchasing some shirts, please share this video, you know, share it with your friends and help spread the word. It's just an incredible organization. It's a big-hearted organization. I'm just so excited about what they're doing. And yeah, Pete's a great guy just to keep in touch with as well. So follow him on Facebook, go to his website, helpfightthefightclothing.com. Did I get that right? No, fightthefightclothing.com.
Yeah, it's facebook.com/helpfightthefight. That's what.
Got it. Well, yeah. Pete, thank you so much for being here. I loved hearing more about your story, and I just think you're a gift to so many people.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This was my first live video. And
really?
First split screen. Yeah, so we're good.
Great. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, there's Cheryl saying hi. Exactly. I love it. All right, y'all. I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas, and we'll see you later. Bye.
All right. See you. Bye.